Okay.
Can't hear you, Madhvananda Prabhu.
We cannot hear you, Madhvananda Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Sorry about that. So we had two cable connections here. Both of them were down. My phone was also down. Everything just crashed all of a sudden, and now our time's real short. So we've been hearing about how this verse in Anarpita Chirim Cirat, and how something for a long time is being given now, which hadn't been given before, and such a very, very special thing. So if this is such a special thing, the commentator who's describing it to Jiva Goswami, he's raising the question then, so then who is the doorkeeper of that storehouse, and who's the custodian of that storehouse of love of God? Because we need to be able to get inside of there. And so the answer he's giving is that Nityananda Prabhu is the custodian, and that Sanatana Goswami is the doorkeeper. So why are these two particular persons being mentioned as a custodian and as the doorkeeper? Nityananda Prabhu is even more merciful than Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And we may have a hard time understanding that because Mahaprabhu's Mahavadanyaya avatar, specifically because he's in the mood of Radha. But Nityananda Prabhu, according to our acharyas, in Gaura Ganadash Deepika is described in a number of different places. Chaitanya Bhagavat, in his commentary, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta explains that Nityananda Prabhu is a manifestation of Ananga Manjari. It's a combined form, just as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is a combined form of Krishna and Srimati Radharani. So also Nityananda Prabhu is a combined form of Ananga Manjari, the younger sister Srimati Radharani, and Balaram. So she's even more merciful in that sense than Srimati Radharani herself. And therefore, we offer these prayers daily to Nityananda Prabhu. Odaryena sukamadenu divishad rakshendu chintamani brindam brahma sukham shisundarataya kandarpa brindam prabhum vatsalyena sumatridenu nichayam vispardinam nandinam Nityanandamaham namami satatam premabdi samvadinam. That when we speak about Nityananda Prabhu, Nityananda Maham Nami Satatam, I offer my obeisances over and over again to Nityananda Prabhu. Odaryena Sukamadenu Devishad Rakshendu Chintamani. That Nityananda Prabhu, in terms of his Odarja, Odarja means his munificence, his kindness, his mercy. In terms of his Odarja, Sukamadenu, he's more kind than a Kamadenu cow, the cow which gives everything. And he's more kind than Rakshendu, or the Lord of the demigods, Indra. Chintamani, he's more kind, he gives more kindness than the touchstone. Brindam Brahma Sukham to Sundariyataya, Kandarpa Brindam Prabhu. He gives more, gives something more kindly than the munificence of Brahman, the Brahma Sukh, the happiness of Brahma Sukh. And his beauty, his Sundar, Kandarpa Brindam Prabhu, it defeats millions and millions of cupids. And his affection, Vatsalyena, the affection that he has, Sumatri Denu, it's greater than your mother. Sumatri Denu, it's greater than the cows. This is Nityananda Prabhu. And therefore, Gopal Bhatta Goswami, in his Sanskar Dipika, he prays to Nityananda. Nityananda padadvanvam yesham hritkani kala ye tesham dasanu dasoham prasidantu sadaivahi. He says that I'm the servant, tesham dasanu dasam, I'm the servant of the devotees of Nityananda, and whose hearts reside the lotus feet of Nityananda Prabhu. Prasidantu Sadaivahi, may they be pleased with me always. Because Nityananda Prabhu is the custodian of this storehouse of love of God. It's being given freely by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but Nityananda Prabhu, we have to go through him. And there's a nice song which I sent to everybody. Borosukir kabur gai, 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 Borosukir kabur gai. Surabe kunje te name hat kuleche, Surabe kunje te name hat kuleche, Kodanitai, 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 Kodanitai. This is Bodo Sukha Kabur Gai. I have the, Sukha means happiness and Kabur is news. I have the best news. Bodo, very big news. And I'm singing about Gai. Bodo Sukha Kabur Gai. He says, I'm jumping up and down. Surabi Kunjete. There in Surabi Kunj. In that Nam Hata Kuleche, Nityananda Prabhu, he's opened up a marketplace of the holy name. And it's very interesting to me, if you look in a Bengali dictionary, as we did some time back, for the word Koda, you won't find it. The word Koda is not a Bengali word. It's an Islamic word. And it means God. Koda. So, in other words, what Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying here is that he's my God, Nitai. And who am I? I'm just a Yavana Malecha. I'm the most fallen out of it person. And Nityananda Prabhu is so very, very kind. Bodhamoja katatai, Bodhamoja katatai, Bodhamoja katatai, Bodhamoja katatai. Shuramuye Suranam Sehate Bikai, Shuramuye Suranam Sehate Bikai, Kodanitai, 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 Kodanitai. Nityananda Prabhu is so very, very kind. Bodha Moja Kata. He said, I want to tell you this very, very amusing, amazing kata that's going on. That in that marketplace, he's giving the topmost thing, Shadamulya. Mulya means for the price. Just for the price of faith. He's giving that Sudanam. Sehate Bikai. Bika means that he's selling this thing for that. Just for practically nothing. This is the mercy of Nityananda Prabhu. Nityananda Prabhu is the custodian of this storehouse of love of God. And so in this commentary on the Anarpita Chirim Cirat verse, our Guru Maharaj is commenting also, I'm not going to go through this whole song because we just won't have time, that Nityananda Prabhu, he's a custodian. He's in charge of that. So we approach him, and approaching him means what? Nityananda padadvandvam yesham hritkani kala yetesham dasanu dasoham prasidantu sadaivahi. That I offer my obeisances to the devotees in whose hearts reside the lotus feet of Nityananda Prabhu. And my prayer is, may they be pleased with me always. Because if I can please those devotees, then definitely I'll get the shelter of Nityananda Prabhu. And we can see that there's a wonderful example in a very rare book called the Narahari Vishesha Parichoy. It's an appendix of Narottam Vilas by Narahari Chakravarti Thakur. Narottam Vilas is by Narahari Chakravarti. And this particular Narahari Vishesha Parichoy, this is written by one of his disciples whose name was Ananda Narayan Maitra Bhagavat Bhushan. And we translated some section from that. It's a very long, amazing story. I'm not going to go. It would take more than this session, actually, just to tell this amazing story about Narahari Chakravarti. But a little part of that story illustrates the amazing mercy of Nityananda Prabhu and how it is that he's a custodian. So in that story, it's described how Narahari Chakravarti Thakur was feeling intense pangs of separation from Vishwanath Chakravarti, which is also very interesting because he never met Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. I find that very significant because we never met Srila Prabhupada. But many devotees, they feel separation from Prabhupada. I was living in Colorado Springs going to high school when Prabhupada was in Denver. My mother took me sometimes to Denver. Prabhupada visited Denver. It's possible that I could have seen Srila Prabhupada. And I first came in touch with Prabhupada's books in Colorado Springs. I was about 11 or 12 years old. But I'm so unfortunate I didn't get to meet Srila Prabhupada. So Narahari Chakravarti Thakur heard so much about Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. He was crying in separation, rolling on the ground. And Ananda Narayan Maitra, he describes in this Parichaya, this appendix of Narottam Vilas, about his Guru Maharaj, that Narahari Chakravarti Thakur rolled on the ground all the way from the temple of Govindaji to the temple of Gopishwar Mahadev. And you know that takes about half an hour roughly to walk, if you're walking quickly. He rolled on the ground. And he went there and he was in a fit of ecstasy, rolling on the ground and crying. And then suddenly Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur appeared before him and told him, "Hey, Narahari, why are you lamenting? It's okay. Look, everybody's here." Huh? And he started pointing out, there's Nityananda Prabhu, there's Gauranga Mahaprabhu, there's Advaita, there's Gadadhar, there's Srinivasacharya, Narottam Shyamananda, Ramachandra, everybody's here. He started pointing everybody out. And Narahari Chakravarti Thakur became very ecstatic. And then Nityananda Prabhu brought him and gave him to Mahaprabhu. And Mahaprabhu said, "Who am I? You should give him to Advaita." He gave him to Advaita. Advaita said, "Who am I? You should go to Gadadhar." He gave him to Gadadhar Pandit. Gadadhar said, "Why are you coming to me? You should go to Srivas Thakur." And he gave him to Srivas Thakur. And Srivas said, "What are you coming to me for? You should go to Sanatana Goswami." And Sanatana Goswami said, "No, you should go to Rupa." And in this way, he's being handed down from devotee to devotee in disciplic succession till they give him to Ramachandra Kaviraj, who was the guru of Narahari Chakravarti and a disciple of Vishwanath. And when he gave him to Ramachandra, then Ramachandra Kaviraj turned him over again to Nityananda Prabhu. And at that time, Nityananda Prabhu became very pleased and he said, "Nityananda bole shabe paila mashuk, na deke ami guru vimukera muk, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Hare." Nityananda Prabhu said, "Shabe paila mashuk, now I'm really happy. Before, you gave me this fellow, and that was nice. We gave him some mercy, but I wasn't fully satisfied. But now that he's coming from the hand of his Gurudev, now I'm very satisfied." He says, "Nadeki ami guru vimukera muk." I'll never look at the face of someone who's guru vimukera muk, who's averse to their guru, who doesn't want to serve their guru, doesn't have faith in their guru. And Nityananda said, "Vimuki se dure taka shange nahi janna, more Prabhupada na paye chara. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare." He says that Vimuki, that envious person, say Duritaka, he stays far away from us. Shange Nyai Jana, he doesn't enter into our Sangha. More Prabhupada na payasecha, that rascal never gets the feet of my Prabhupada. Who's that Prabhupada? That's Gauranga Mahaprabhu. He never gets the feet of my Lord. Guru Anandari Eka Durachara Hoila Moravira Deka Oi Tare Te Agila Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. He says someone who's Guru Anandari, someone who disrespects his Guru. Eka Durachari, that person is a Durachari. He's a wicked demon. And he says, Moravira Deka. He said, you see, Moravira, my strength. Oitari Teagila, I'll reject him. Because Nityananda Prabhu is a custodian for this warehouse of love of God. And if you don't get his mercy, you can't enter. And Nityananda Prabhu is Adi Guru. Nityananda Prabhu is pleased when the devotees serve their Guru. Chaitanya Bhagavat, Vrindavan Das Thakur says, Nityananda Prasad se hoya Vishnu Bhakti Janiha Krishnera Nityananda Purna Shakti Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Nityananda Prasada Sehoy Vishnu Bhakti. That by the mercy of Nityananda Prabhu, you get bhakti. Janiha, you should know, Krishnera Nityananda Purna Shakti. That Nityananda Prabhu, he's the full Shakti of Krishna. And in his commentary in this verse, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he explains that Nityananda Prabhu, again, is a combined form of Balaram and Ananga Manjari. And as a younger sister of Radharani, Nityananda Prabhu, he's able to nourish those conjugal mellows. This is the glory of Nityananda Prabhu. So many things we could say about him. I think I'm just going to go ahead and stop here. We'll finish saying a couple more words, but Nityananda Prabhu is a custodian of the storehouse of love of God. I wanted to explain something about Sanatana Goswami's role also, but there's just not enough time right now. But Nityananda Prabhu, he's a custodian. He's a personality who maintains it. And he's a personality who will grant us entry into that storehouse of love of God. And how does he do that? Nityananda Padad Vanvam Yesham Hitkani Kala Yitesham Dasana Dasaham Prasidantu Sadaivahi. That I pray to those devotees whose hearts Nityananda Prabhu's lotus feet have appeared in, that they may be pleased with me always. So if we can please our Gurudev, then we'll please Nityananda Prabhu. Nityananda Prabhu, as Guru Maharaj is saying, sometimes you see deities of Nityananda like this, with the two hands out. And I've seen Gaur Nitai deities, very old deities sometimes, where Mahaprabhu is looking up, but Nityananda Prabhu is looking down. Nityananda Prabhu, he's distributing this Krishna Prema with two hands. Mahaprabhu, he has sometimes one hand in the air. He's in ecstasy and dancing. And one hand, he's giving some. But Nityananda Prabhu has both hands that he's distributing this thing. He's more merciful than Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu because he's always intoxicated with that prema madhira, that intoxicated prema. So I want to stop there. I know we didn't speak a whole lot of different things for everybody to have some reflections. I have a question, first of all, though. Brinda Sundar, are you being nice to your husband?
Yes.
Okay, we should probably ask him about that also. But I just noticed that he was here. He seems like such a nice personality. You're very, very lucky. You should be very kind to him. Don't be too heavy on him, okay?
Okay, I won't.
So, does anybody have any reflections? Brinda Sundari, since we got you on the spot here and I'm embarrassing you, do you have anything you wanted to share tonight, any reflections about this topic?
Well, this is one of my favorite songs about Lord Nityananda. And I'm wondering that this near Matsaranam Shatam Vedyam, that so basically envy blocks us from accessing mercy or that deeper vision, Bhagavat Dharma Tattva. So when Lord Nityananda is distributing, does he help remove that envy?
He helps to remove that envy if we approach in a non-envious way. Just like I've seen here in India, I always, when I see you, I always think of your children and your role as a mother. I don't see you as a temple president. But I remember several times, many times, but one particular time on the bank of the Ganga here in Mayapur, seeing some people getting ready to take bath in the morning, and their child was there. And their child, before he went to take bath, he went to touch his mother and father's feet. And the mother and father patted him on the head and gave their ashirvad. And I was contemplating it, and I thought, someone may say the kid doesn't really mean it. Right? I mean, you can tell your kids to touch your feet when they get up in the morning and they go, God, they'll roll their eyes in their head, right? They may do that, but they don't necessarily really mean it. But that child was behaving in a sincere way, just like sometimes we offer our obeisances. I remember before I won't mention, one sannyasi, he used to be a sannyasi, who was a friend of mine. He used to make a joke, and he would say that, Prabhu, please accept my offenses and forgive me for my obeisances. And the joke was kind of indirectly pointing out that we very mechanically sometimes offer obeisances. And we say this thing, please accept my obeisances and forgive me for my offenses. So he's making a joke out of that. Unfortunately, I don't know if that was why, but he ended up leaving our movement. Anyway, sometimes we do things in a mechanical way. And the children, Ujjwala Rasika can tell you this also, sometimes the children may just be respectful because, if I'm not respectful to you, I'm getting you prasadam today. You feed me, I gotta be respectful. But if they try, then still the parents are pleased by that. Just like we offer obeisances to someone, if we're sincere. I remember I saw one old sannyasi here in Mayapur in like 1997, I think it was. Actually 1996, just a little after my Guru Maharaj left. And there were so many sannyasis, I wasn't offering obeisances to everyone. So I thought, next time I see a sannyasi, I'm really going to get down and really offer obeisances. So I saw this elderly sannyasi, and I got down and really stayed down for a little while and tried to be sincere. And somehow he saw that, and he called me over. It happened to be the elderly Mahavishnu Maharaj, who passed away some years ago. And he was like really pleased with me. And he said, what's your name? And who's your guru? And this and that. And he spoke a little bit about my Guru Maharaj. But he was pleased because it seemed like I was doing that thing. So similarly with Nityananda Prabhu, if we practice Vaidhi Bhakti and we try our best, just like the child offers obeisances, and he may not really mean it when he touches the feet of the parents, very sincerely, but if he just does it and behaves in a nice way, that pleases the parents. And they get some ashirvad. We offer obeisances to the Vaishnava, maybe some old sannyasi we don't know or something. But if we do that as sincerely as we can, we may get some blessings. And therefore it said that bhakti sanjayate bhakti. In the 11th canto it says that bhakti comes from bhakti. So when we act according to bhakti, then we please the bhakta who has bhakti. And bhakti stu bhagavad bhakta sangena parijayate, the Naradiya Purana says, that person will give us bhakti. So that's my understanding of the situation with Nityananda Prabhu. We may be envious, and really, ultimately, whoever's not envious, please raise your hand. Just like there's a bad joke that has been going around for a long time, you probably all heard, that Christ was once speaking to a group of people, and they're getting ready to stone someone to death. And Christ stepped in front of all of them and held his hand up and said, stop. Let he who is without sin cast the first stone. And everybody was quiet, and they all dropped their rocks. And then suddenly from the back of the crowd, an old woman came shuffling forward with a big rock, and she threw it at the guy and smashed his head and killed him. And Christ turned to her and said, Mother, sometimes you make me so annoyed, because she's without sin. Hare Krishna. It's a bad joke. Anyway, so in a similar way, who of us is really free from envy? We have material bodies, we have material desires. That's a symptom of envy. We can't say that we're free from envy, but Nityananda Prabhu, he's pleased with someone who's free from envy. And we can't understand the Bhagavatam, and Matsaram Satam Vedyam, unless we're free from envy. So that's a work in progress, and we should respect that. Therefore, it's not that we run around trying to judge how non-envious devotees are because we can't see their hearts. Rather, we look at devotees by how much bhajan they're doing. And we're so happy to see that. And sometimes even amongst the devotees, a theme that I've been speaking on a little bit lately, there's demons. We have demons in our movement. And we've seen it over the period of time. Some of them have done terrible things to children. Some of them has taken money. Some of them have done so many bad things. But there are also devotees in this movement. And they're not ordinary demons. They're devotee demons. And we offer our pranams to them. They're special. We may have to ask them to leave the temple. We may not want to associate with them. But they're very special demons because they're chanting Hare Krishna. Is that okay, Sundari?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you for the question. Sorry for putting you on the spot. Please forgive me. Ujjwala Rasiga, I know you have to go soon. Do you want to share something with us today? You're not at the hospital.
I don't have to go anywhere today, Prabhu. I took day off. I just wanted to be with you all fully present, and this is so nourishing. I cherish it, Prabhu.
Nice to have you with us. We don't get to see the brick wall behind you today.
It is still Pariprashnena, Prabhu. So, when there is a description here that Narahari Chakravarti, is it Narahari Chakravarti Thakur, Prabhu?
Yeah. Well,
Right, yeah.
The story was about Narahari Chakravarti Thakur, and it was
Right.
written by Bhagavat Maitri, one of his disciples.
Okay. So the devotee that rolled on the ground is Narahari Chakravarti Thakur, right? So my
Narayan Maitra is his disciple, was his name. Go ahead.
Yes, Prabhu. So did this actually happen that Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and rest of all the devotees and the Panchatattva appeared there? Or are they trying to give us a message here saying that the Nirmatsaranam should be to such an extent that you accept the immediate preceptor, mentor with no enviousness, and then you get the access to the highest reservoir to Gauranga?
Ananda Narayan Maitra is presenting this as history. It's an amazing story. And I didn't even finish the story. The story goes quite long. But Nityananda was so pleased that when Narahari was brought by his guru, then Nityananda said, now I'm going to punish you. And he grabbed Narahari Chakravarti by the head, and he slammed him down and slammed his head on the feet of Gauranga Mahaprabhu. That was Nityananda.
That actually happened, Prabhu? All the personalities appeared?
It actually happened.
Whoa.
And then what happened next, for those who don't know, then Nityananda was laughing and said, so what do you see now? And suddenly Gauranga Mahaprabhu disappeared. And all the devotees disappeared. And suddenly he saw that he's there at Vangsivat, which is right next to Gopishwar Mahadev. And he saw Radha and Krishna. And Radharani was sitting on a throne, and Krishna was on his hands and knees in front of Radharani begging. And he saw so many gopis and cows, and he saw Nitya Vrindavan. And Krishna was crying and saying, hey Radhe, please give me your bhav. Please give me your love. And Radharani is saying, no, I can't do that. What do you want with my bhav? And they're having this discussion. It's a long story. And then in front of Narahari Chakravarti, it was a pretty good day for him, I have a feeling. Suddenly he saw Radha and Krishna come together as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And then he's laying there unconscious this whole time. And by then, many devotees had gathered around him. Is he okay? What's happening? And all of a sudden, Narahari Chakravarti leaps up off the ground, probably 8 feet in the air or something, and starts shouting, Haribo! 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 and crying. And all the devotees became ecstatic. He said, finally, Prema has returned to Braj. This is the history of Narahari Chakravarti Thakur. And it's a very encouraging thing. It happens. It's very, very real. Okay, Ujjwala? Nice to see you. Girls are okay?
They are, Prabhu.
They're cooking for you sometimes?
Yeah, they do sometimes.
Really? That's really good. You should tell them that I said they shouldn't only cook for their father, they should cook for their mother sometimes also.
Just wanted to mention this, Prabhu. I mean, this incident that you have narrated, the information generally that we get, yes, we hear it, but this pastime, narration of the pastime, and the emphasis that it actually happens, this is all very valuable. Thank you, Prabhu.
Yeah, because it gives us some hope. The Catholics understand that. In the Catholic Church, they understand there has to be saints. If there's no saints, there's no church. It just doesn't work. And we also need saints, but we have some problem because sometimes we have demons in our movement. And sometimes even they get elected to the position of saint. And everybody accepts that. And we don't see and understand that, and problems come. And so now we're a little reluctant to accept saints. But anyway, that's another topic. But saints are important, in our individual life, at least. Maybe not in the institution, I don't know. Okay, I want to go a little quick because we got to go quickly. Leela Purushottam Prabhu, who has to do something, so he said he couldn't show his smiling face. We're very unfortunate. But Leela Purushottam Prabhu, he's asking, he says he has some questions.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Oh, there you are.
Yeah, I would like to ask a thing, because you spoke a lot about Nityananda Prabhu as Ananga Manjari.
And I knew you were going to pick up on this because Ayendra Prabhu liked this very much.
Yes, that's one thing, but it might be a little controversial. Well, not controversial, but that's my question for a long time, actually. I remember a lecture, it might be quite a famous class by Gaur Govinda Maharaj, somewhere in America, where he was pointing on the altar and he said, you shouldn't place Nityananda Prabhu on the one altar with Radharani. And stressing the point that Nityananda is Balaram, and then from the point of Rasa, Balaram and Radharani doesn't go well together. But if we consider this consideration that Nityananda is Ananga Manjari, and we know that Narottam Das Thakur always sings, Nitai Karuna Habe, Vrajaradha Krishna Pabe, and he's one who gives us Madhurya Rasa. He's one who brings us to the Radha Krishna service. So how do we, how to reconcile it?
Well, Guru Maharaj is speaking, my understanding, primarily from the position of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, he only had Mahaprabhu on the altar. Why that is, because Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, in this purport I was mentioning Chaitanya Bhagavat, he describes Nityananda Prabhu as the younger sister of Srimati Radharani, Nanga Manjari. And that you can look it up. It's Madhya 1226 of Chaitanya Bhagavat. And there's also some other lectures where Srila Bhaktisiddhanta spoke about that also. I can read you from one. This is in Radhasami in 1925. He said, Ananga Manjari is none other than the goddess form of Sri Nityananda or Sri Baladev Prabhu. So it's a good question, Leela Purushottam Prabhu. Why, what's the problem? And in one sense, I guess we may say there is no problem. The problem to me comes when we want to try to institutionalize deity worship. That's the big problem. And we want to try to make everything one size fits all for everyone. Deity worship's not like that, because deity worship is something very individual. It's our own personal individual expression of devotion. And that's very, very different from one person to another. Of course, there has to be some standards for temples. And therefore, for a temple, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta forbade that. But in terms of Rasa Tattva, yeah, what's the problem? Because Ananga Manjari is Nityananda Prabhu. However, my supposition is this, my thought, that perhaps Srila Bhaktisiddhanta forbade it because the common people didn't recognize Nityananda Prabhu in that way. The common people, generally, we say, Hino Nitai, that Balaram Hino Nitai, that Nitai is Balaram. That's our general conception that we speak about. And we don't speak about Ananga Manjari. Very, very rarely do the devotees speak about any of the Manjaris, what to speak of Ananga Manjari. So that may be the reason for that. And it's a general rule in the Gaudiya Math. I've never seen a Gaudiya Math temple that has Gaur Nitai with Radha Krishna. It's just not done. Or even, I can't think of any Goswami temples or any other temples either where they do like that. But if someone privately wants to do that, understanding that Nityananda Prabhu is Ananga Manjari, what's the harm with that? That's my humble thought. It's a great question. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Helps a lot. Yeah, that would bring a whole discussion about the difference about the personal worship and the deity and temple worship. But it helped a lot. Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate kind of implicit in the question too, although you didn't put it this way. there may seem like there's some conflict. And the tendency amongst devotees a lot of times is to pick out your favorite hero and say, Gurudev said, and therefore you're wrong, or even Srila Bhaktisiddhanta said, and therefore you're wrong, or Ayana Prabhu said, so it's okay, or whatever. But rather than being so fratricidal like that, we should get better to look and see how we can reconcile it in terms of rasa. And this is a problem, as I mentioned, that I have with the deity worship ministry, and I told this to the members sometimes, that one size does not fit all. This doesn't work like that. Anyway, I should stop. I want to go on with some other devotees. Thank you, Leela.
Thank you so much.
And let's see, Tushra Krishna, I think he's busy addressing the deities. If you're there and you can, we'd love to hear something from you. Otherwise, we'll go ahead with Nitai Prabhu. Nitai Prabhu, do you have any reflection you want to share? We're
very good. Very short, as you say that Kartik, and you should go to the next program. Definitely, I hope you will make some pictures and you bring them.
I'll do that.
So, yeah, that is like I was a great sport fan. Still, I have some impression, but I see that in the spiritual world, there's a big team, and everyone can score a goal. Not just the heroes, but everyone, little devotees that they score. It's very nice how you explained that. Thank you very much. So,
what a great analogy. I don't know if everybody here in the room could hear that, or even understand his accent. It's like Nitai Prabhu is speaking. You're in New Brajadam now, or in the
yes.
nearby? He's in Hungary, and he's a little bit of a French-Hungarian kind of accent. And Nitai Prabhu was saying that it's like a team sport. But in this team, in the spiritual world, everybody can score a goal. It's not just the big persons or whatever like that. Everyone can score a goal, even a very small person. Everybody's an equal member of the team. I really like that. Thank you very much. Okay, Reed, do you have anything you want to share before we run away? Anything you want tonight?
I was appreciating a point you made that approaching Nityananda Prabhu means pleasing the devotees who hold Nityananda Prabhu in their heart.
Yeah.
Then together we can achieve the lotus feet of Nitai.
I offer that prayer every day, and I want to make that prayer my heartfelt prayer that please may I be conscious that I want to please the devotees. And pleasing the devotees doesn't just mean that we do something mechanically, because as Brajabanita often points out, if someone comes and they flatter you, they say something nice, we should speak sweet words. But if someone just comes and mechanically says something, or they're trying to control you because of that, you actually feel offended and hurt by that, even though the words are so-called sweet. So if we really want to please devotees, it means we can't be mechanical. We have to be genuine. Okay? Thank you very much, Reed. I'm running here tonight. Anybody else here in the room with us want to offer anything? Any reflections? Something you won tonight?
For me, it was the same as
you got to come over here.
So I don't have any.
Okay, it was the same for you as what?
That's what Reed said right now.
Is what Reed just said.
The most important thing for me.
Yeah, you felt that was
the other thing
important.
is I love this story about separation from Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, and then how Lord Nityananda only really gets pleased when we approach Sri Gurudev.
Yeah.
And that's just very special.
I don't know if she's whispering here off the thing. She's saying that she was just appreciating how Nityananda was only pleased when we please our Gurudev. It's such an important
Can we see her too, Prabhu?
Can we see Krishna Kun? Yeah, I'm turning. She's going to be annoyed with me. You're going to get me in trouble. Can you see her there? And there's a couple other devotees here in the room.
Yes. Thank you.
Ananta Garanga Purheshan Khan. Why don't you come and sit?
I remember one lecture you mentioned that one of the way that they please Lord Nityananda is by being Adoshadarshi. We don't see fault in others. I remember you mentioned that Adoshadarshi, to be free from fault finding. So, and you mentioned that we should please Guru. I mean, the only Nityananda is please, if we please Guru, or if we are, yeah. So you can say something about it.
Yeah. We want to please our Gurudev. And what is the nature of our Gurudev? Gurudev always chastises everyone. Right? Prabhupada chastised the scientists. Prabhupada chastised his disciples. And we see Gurudev chastising also. And sometimes we think, yeah, I'd like to do that also. And I'm going to chastise. But we can't imitate Gurudev. Rather, we should just try to serve Gurudev. And if we have some position, you're a temple president, you're a mother, you're a father, you're a temple commander, you have an obligation, not just a right, but an obligation to chastise. But you can only chastise, even as a parent, to the extent that your children or that the persons under you feel that you genuinely care about them. It's not just that you know, why do you tell me that? Because I said so, that's why. You know, that's not good enough for children, it's not good enough for anyone. So they have to actually feel that we have some love and affection for them. And that means being non-envious. If we're non-envious, then we'll please the devotees, we'll please Gurudev, we'll please Nityananda Prabhu. Okay, I'm going to stop there. We got to run right now. We're almost 10 minutes after. Thank you all very much. So next week, what is next week? Let me look at my calendar real quick. I think, yeah, next week is after Kartik. So we'll be able to go a little later, I think. What's happening next week here? Okay, I have a Russian Bhagavatam class in the morning. And we have a bunch of different classes coming up. One that I would recommend to devotees will be at 6:30, same time, starting a half hour later on Sunday. We're going to give a katha called Krishna Never Leaves Vrindavan. That's a GBC SPT thing, and that'll be here at the same place, pretty much the same time, if anybody wants that on Sunday. Okay, I'll post something about it on our WhatsApp group too. So thank you all so much. Nice to see everybody. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Samaveda Bhaktabinda ki jai, Go Prema Nandi Hari Hari Bo Vancha Kalpatarubhishcha, Kripa Sindhu Vyevacha.